Today on the MotoMan Podcast, we sit down with automotive media veteran Craig Cole. This guy is a respected automotive journalist, and I'm going to make a statement, and you say true or false.
I have absolutely no idea.
Wow. It shows you how off you are.
I literally have no idea.
And then we get his take on emerging automotive startups like the Jeff Bezos-funded Slate. What's your take on Slate Automotive?
Oh gosh, it's going to be a tough sell. It's still affordable, but it's an awfully big risk. But I mean, I guess if you've got Jeff Bezos money, you can just flip everybody off.
Do whatever the hell you want. Then we get this avid car collector's opinion on timelessness in today's cars.
When you inevitably scratch or crack the surface of the giant screen, because it's going to happen, what does that cost to replace? Can you even get one in, 5 or 10 years or 20 years down the road? Like, this is not a good solution.
Then we veer off into the challenging relationship between the media and car companies around the world. I think they're paying lip service to some of the car journalists.
I tend to think they don't care at all what we say, other than they got their car review or their video out and they got the views.
And before Craig and I wrap up the shoot for the day, we debate the state of our own jobs.
Lately, the last couple of years, it's been turmoil in this business.
I see it as the change coming from the viewers saying, you know what, I'm sick of this format.
Okay, well, how do you stand out if there are 300 other channels coming out with the same content?
Craig, believe it or not, it has been exactly a year since you and I sat in this very spot, well, actually one garage over, and we did a SWOT analysis of the Detroit 3, really Detroit 2.5, being pedantic.
Yeah.
And what I didn't expect was the feedback we got on those episodes.
Hopefully positive.
Oh, very positive. There was a lot of debate is what we stirred.
Yeah.
And I thought, instead of doing a SWOT analysis this year, you and I would talk about change in the industry over the past year. And I'm going to make a statement, and you say true or false.
Okay.
The change over the past year has been more than the change over the previous 4 years.
Whew, that's a tough one. I think the big change over the last years is maybe the shift away from electrification. Now, I don't really have any skin in the game in the electric vehicle world. I think they're great in certain applications. They're a perfect transportation solution for some drivers, but they sure as hell don't work for everyone. If you're towing horse trailers, if you're moving gravel for a living or heavy equipment, you're not going to get a Silverado EV. You're not going to get a Lightning. It's not going to do the job for you. It's not practical. But if you're commuting 50, 100 miles a day even to work and back again, you can charge up at home. Pay, whatever the cost per kilowatt hour is, it's going to be less charging level 2 at home than it would be buying gas for your car. So there are applications where electrics are superior, but I think the move away from that is very smart because now you've got plug-in hybrids and conventional hybrids, which work for a much broader audience of people, right?
My counter to you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at case-by-case basis rather than talking generalities.
Okay.
I'm going to hit you with probably the biggest piece of news over the past, say, 12 months.
Okay.
ZR1X.
The ZR1X?
ZR1X.
Electrified Corvette.
Electrified Corvette. What should have been called the Zora.
Should have been, and they
should have been. They went with this crazy name. Is this a positive or a negative for General Motors?
I don't know. The Corvette faithful probably don't want an electrified Corvette, although they have the E-Ray, which seems, I have not driven. I still have not driven a C8 Corvette. But the E-Ray was positively reviewed, was it not? You've been in one, haven't you?
So the E-Ray, I haven't driven one on camera, but I have driven one. There's a topic I want to get to, and it's what is going on in the resale market, meaning what's the transaction price going on? We'll get to that later. And the E-Ray, and I think the C8 is a big part of that conversation, but giving away a little bit of that, I don't think the E-Ray has been the commercial success that they hoped it would have been, because people now can buy a C8 at a discounted price. Makes it a much more palatable purchase.
What are they going for roughly?
So like C8s, you're getting them for 10 grand off sticker.
Okay.
Even Z06s, which changes the math.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that the ZR1X is a positive, for both General Motors as well as the Corvette brand. For General Motors, it is a positive in that we have brought a technological tour de force to the market.
I was just going to say.
It was unexpected. More importantly, we did it in a market that was trying just a year ago to ram electrification down everybody's throat. And here's electrification in a way that works in today's infrastructure, but works not for the sake of technology, but to actually accentuate
the driving
performance.
experience. Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't think you will have any issue with price elasticity.
Okay.
I think they will sell every one of them they make.
Interesting. Okay.
Because the numbers are going to be low.
They're going to study their market, right? They're going to know the buyer that would want a Corvette and an electrified Corvette. So they're going to produce the amount that they think they can sell without having to heavily discount them,
No, I think
right?
they're doing the Ferrari thing.
You think they're
I think they're doing something different. I think Corvettes, they've always...
You think they're reaching for that Ferrari market now?
No, I think they're borrowing a page out of the Ferrari allocation market.
Okay.
That's what I think. So Corvettes, they've always been the everyman's kind of sports car. They've always been kind of an attainable sports car.
Yeah.
And they've proven that with the C8. Little fun fact for you. How many C8s did they sell in 2023?
2023. I have absolutely no idea. I would guess fewer than 10,000.
Wow. That shows you how off you are.
I literally have no idea.
I would expect this guy is a respected automotive journalist, and you got this completely wrong. So as a basis of comparison, like you got a Toyota Corolla Cross sitting over there.
Very exciting product, mind you.
No, it's 250,000 units sell something like that a year.
Okay, probably.
That's a volume product.
Absolutely.
The Corvette is sold 53,700.
53,000?
53,000. And we're talking transaction prices of 80 grand.
That's pure money. I mean, that's good money for them. We don't know what their costs are to build it, but it's probably not being sold at a loss.
Cents. There's no electric motors in them. It's made of like sheet aluminum and plastic.
Yeah.
It's what's worthless. It costs them $3.
Go to the recycling center and get your materials.
Absolutely. But as a basic comparison, how many Supers did they sell in 2023?
I think that's fewer than 10,000.
It was fewer than 10,000. How many Zs? 2,500. So it gives you an idea. They are the market leader.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really care about transaction prices in the vet world. Okay? That's why they're willing to say, okay, even the Z06, which was a technological tour de force, still I think is now on offer for $10,000 discounts. The ZR1, I think they're saying to themselves, no, this we're going to keep as a halo car.
Okay.
We want this car to compete with McLaren's, the 296, that kind of stuff. Even though it really, the kind of performance they're talking about is more for the hypercars. So as a result, I think they're artificially limiting supply, which will artificially keep prices up and will go toe-to-toe in terms of transaction prices, meaning percentage of the actual window sticker, with Porsche. And I think that's incredibly important and one of the big reasons why that car is a positive to General Motors.
Do you think they'll have markups on it?
I already know.
You already know. Okay, because it's such a low supply, high demand, special product. They're going to be paying more. It's the 911 strategy, the Porsche strategy.
I already, you won't be surprised to learn this. We shot an episode called What is GM Doing Right Today?
I watched that, by the way.
Yes.
You've fantastically upped your production value. You have a great team working for you now. The amount of work you put into that shooting in different locations, and you were at a dealership, for instance, was it a Cadillac dealership?
Cadillac and a Chevy dealer.
And you got to go, I'm sure you know the guys, but you've got to go there. You've got to get approval to shoot. Hey, do you mind if we come in and shoot? We're not going to bother the customers. We're not going to make a scene, but you got to arrange that.
And one of them was a Penske, so that's a corporate.
Oh, so it's a little bit more difficult.
That was a lot harder.
But I appreciate the work that goes into setting all of that up because I've worked in video production for many years.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, but no, very well done, very well researched, very good transitions between segments in the video too. You put a lot of effort into that.
We did.
And it shows.
We did.
So congratulations on upping the production value. I'm sorry you're stuck with me. I'm dragging the show down now.
Not at all. No, you don't understand. This guy here, so a little bit, I think this is a good time to bring up what you're doing here. So we both have made a lot of changes in our life over the past year. I've reimagined my show. He talked about some of the details of how we've reimagined the show, and that's only one slice of it. This is actually the second slice that people will start seeing in September. You now, tell us what you are doing now.
So launched a new YouTube channel. That's hard to say. New YouTube channel called Esoterica. So I'm working with producer Ben Sanders. He's behind the camera right now. You can't really see him, but you can't see him at all.
What people don't know, even though the people that followed you from like Blue Sky to not Blue Sky, the Twitter
Autoline Detroit,
way back in the day.
Yeah.
Blue Sky to Auto Guide to CNET to EV Pulse, and now Auto Esoterica. What they don't understand is you were only 50% of the equation. Ben has always been on the other end of the camera.
Pretty much always. There have been a couple breaks.
There is no you without Ben.
Basically, because he does all the graphics and editing and shooting and all the work I'm not qualified to do. A big tip of the hat to Ben. But yeah, so we launched that channel. When did we launch it? I think it was the first video came out, I want to say like October 30th of last year. So it hasn't quite been a year yet. But what we're doing on the channel is we're focusing on sort of areas that are underserved. And I see a lot of classic car content that is out there, but it's crap. There's so much garbage out on YouTube. I'm not going to name any channels specifically. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later.
We are going to get into the automotive media landscape, but it's not just automotive. There is so much just garbage on social media, video, and YouTube. It's almost frightening how bad some of it is because, in fairness to them, you're feeding the beast.
Oh, yeah. It's a constant churn. So anyway, we're focusing on underserved areas, blind spots in the business. We've got my 36 Ford back here. We feature that in a number of videos. We're going to do a bunch more we've got scheduled.
Plus, you have some industry heavyweights come in, and when you do some design analyses, one of my favorite episodes is the one where you do the design analyses of the 61 Continental.
Yeah. One of my all-time favorite cars. Absolutely gorgeous vehicle. So we've got Jason White. He's a former car designer. He's now a professor at the College for Creative Studies in Detroit. Great guy, super knowledgeable. And then, of course, Jim Hall. Now, a lot of people
Jim Hall knows it all.
Jim Hall does, or so he thinks. No, but Jim Hall, a lot of people don't know Jim Hall, but they also do know Jim Hall because Jim Hall's twin brother, identical twin brother, is Bob Hall, who many people consider to be the father of the Mazda Miata, although he kind of bristles at that because he's very magnanimous. He treats it like it was a team effort to develop the car, and he's right. But people associate the idea of the Miata with Bob Hall, which was kind of what he worked on as a skunks work project at Mazda. But they're both related. They're twin brothers, some of the most knowledgeable people in this entire business, and they're super fun and just great all-around guys.
We're gonna have
they're heavily featured.
We're gonna share a surprise from your channel at the end of this episode. Okay. But back to the dealership.
Sure.
I got some competitive intelligence while I was there. And I had to clear that with the owner. Super great guy. The owner of that dealership, Martin Chevrolet, super great guy.
Competitive intelligence about
competitive
what?
Intelligence. I asked the guy point blank, can I have a ZR1? It's thicker. He looked at me and said,
get out.
We only get one, and guess who's buying it?
This guy.
Exactly. So I think that's the case with all the, maybe like the big dealers. Like there are two big Corvette dealers back east. There's one here in Michigan, ironically in Dearborn. One of the biggest Corvette dealers.
Really, in Dearborn?
Sits across the street from the Ford headquarters.
World headquarters.
Les Stanford or something like that.
Yeah, Les Stanford Chevrolet.
One of the biggest Corvette dealers in the world. And I drove past there today, rows and rows and rows, acres of Corvettes. So that's my very limited, corner of the world. Also, you know what else I got? You want to hear an interesting story? This might be an inside baseball.
I'm going to, whether I want to.
Yeah, I'm telling you whether you like it or not. So while I was there, I asked him, I said, how's like the Blazer EV sales going? Or how's
I imagine they can't even give those things away, right?
They're selling, and you want to know
really?
Why? Actually, let me take it back. They weren't selling.
Okay.
The only one that's selling, believe it or not, doesn't have a GM badge on it. The best selling out of like the Lyriq, the Blazer S, the Blazer EV, the Blazer EV SS, the Equinox is the Honda. That's the one that sells the best.
Of course.
Because it has Apple CarPlay. But that's beside the...
Yeah.
I asked the guy, I said, are these things selling? He goes, they weren't, but now they're selling. Like, why are they selling now? Because they're putting a lease incentive on them. But you know how normally the lease incentive, if you read the T's and C's, it says you have to have like a 792 credit score and above, which is very high.
Yeah.
These are for like B and C paper.
So they're giving...
Basically, people with bad credit.
So folks that should be going to the Mitsubishi dealer are heading to Chevrolet.
Equinox EV.
I mean, I like the Equinox EV for what it is.
Didn't we try this like 16 years ago and 17 years ago in the housing world?
I mean,
how did that work out for us?
I don't know. Global recession, $700 billion.
Please don't do this. Please, whatever you do, do not give away cheap credit, because can't we just learn and move forward and we don't repeat the lesson? Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox here. But again, hot take, would you agree or disagree? Is it smart business to give these incentives on these cheap leases to people with less than stellar credit? Or is this good business to get EVs out?
I mean, they're not doing you any good sitting on the dealer lot, right? You got to pay the floor planning for them, right? Like, that's a cost for the dealers. So to get them out.
But your alternative is maybe you lower the amount of supply coming out of the factory.
Of course.
Many years ago, not really a volume car, but the 222 S-Class Coupe. Remember that beautiful design? It was such an elegant, big car.
Big coupe, yeah.
Big coupe,
that's
convertible. They made an AMG version. I love it. It's going to be a classic. I guarantee it's going to be a classic. It's going to take a long time. Going to be a classic. They didn't want those cars, the market, to take a dump.
Mm-hmm.
So Mercedes said, you know what? We're doing something different here. Instead of incentives like we normally do, even on S-Classes, we're lowering the supply. We're artificially going to lower the supply to maintain a transaction price. And I would argue that's a big function of why the resale market hasn't taken a dump.
Okay. Well, very smart. They limited the supply. There are fewer vehicles out there.
Yes.
Fewer used vehicles at the end of the lifetime or the ownership of the first person that buys it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so now I'm going to switch gears on to a different hot take.
Okay.
Ready?
Different hot take,
Okay,
folks.
so we talked about this. Maybe not so hot take. How about like medium, lukewarm hot take?
Okay, lukewarm take. Okay.
So GM did this like moonshot of a plug-in hybrid sports car. But Toyota famously late to the electric party. You and I talked about it. We think that was the right thing to do. We both agree on that. And I still think that's the right thing to do. I personally think, and you can put this in the bank, I personally think Akio Toyota elevated this guy from Lexus, put him in the CEO position and said, you take the bullet for this electrification crap, and when it fails, I'm going to fire you.
Okay.
Or I'm going to give you a nice package, and then I'm going to take the role again and say, see, I told you so. That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
However, what happened in June? What did we get?
What did we get in June?
A whole bunch of electric Toyotas. Like all new.
Redesigned BZ4X.
Every ES is electrified now.
Yeah. Coming.
And then you got a fully electric ES. And you know me, I had a Lexus. I had the LC. I love Suga-san, chief of design of Lexus. But that new ES is god-awful ugly.
It's not an attract. It's very boxy and weird.
No,
like you look at
it's
the BZ4X.
ugly.
Okay, I'll allow you. I'll allow that.
This is unattractive but handsome.
It's classic. I
It's
think it's
purposefully handsome.
and the beautiful color. What is that hue?
Oh, it's I know it. I'll come back to you on it. And it's been on that car, lapis blue or something.
Yeah, beautiful color.
Okay, so was it the right move for Toyota to do all this electrification after they said and demonstrated? I'm not a big believer in words. I'm a big believer in action.
Uh-huh.
You know, I look at what you do, and their actions were, screw you, Brussels and Washington. We're sticking with hybrids.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, they have every ES is electrified, and we got an electric ES. Was that the right move?
It's more bet hedging, right? Oops, I'm throwing things.
I really threw you off.
Yeah, oh, Toyota, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't. But maybe those products were already in the hopper and they're doing lip service to,
No.
we're not doing that.
Nope.
And then they're not?
They
Okay.
were.
Maybe that's a starting point for much more
Let me take that back.
technology, right?
The new product, a completely new ES, was in the hopper.
Yes.
And they had a platform that I'm willing to bet was designed to be modular.
That's
so they
what it's
could
gotta
do
be.
full electric.
Yeah.
And they could do all hybrid. And I knew they knew they were going to go all hybrid because they have to sell cars in Europe. That part was baked. Whether they brought the electric to market, I think that was always a question mark.
Okay.
And I think they're paying lip service to some of the car journalists by bringing that car.
You think car journalists have that
buy
much? Think they have automotive media that we have that much influence over the car makers? I mean, maybe, but I tend to think they don't care at all what we say, other than they got their car review or their video out and they got the views.
Well, let's do a little algebra.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It's not the government's twisting their arm anymore to have a full electric.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even in Europe, they changed the definition of what green car is in 2035. It's not just full electric. It can be electric, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, so electrified car, which they have with.
That's what China's doing at the new energy vehicles. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, who else? What else do they stand to gain? Because who the hell is going to buy? Let's make it up, an $85,000 ES because it's full electric. Who?
I mean, if you're spending 85 grand, you're going to be shopping elsewhere.
You're going to buy a Tesla for 50, even if you don't agree with the boss's politics.
Yeah.
Money has a way of making people very conservative or very left. Anyway, I'm talking over you.
Yep.
Good decision or bad decision? And if so,
for introducing additional electric vehicles from Toyota and Lexus, good decision or bad decision?
yes.
That's a tough one. I mean, my gut instinct is that it's a good decision because now they've got all their bases covered. If legislation changes, they're ready. They can presumably react to different markets pretty quickly. They still have their combustion-powered vehicles out there with additional electrification. So they've got a much more fuel-efficient offering than just a straight gasoline engine. So it's not a bad thing to offer that choice to consumers, right? Even if maybe they're not going to sell an $80,000, even if it looks like the new ES and costs $80,000.
I don't think it's going to sell. You know what? Let's put a pin in this conversation. Stop, press pause on this episode, and you guys
can do that?
Guess in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV all word, MotoManTV all word. What do you think is going to happen with the all-electric?
Of the ES?
The all-electric ES. Is it going to sell? Let us know in the comments below, and then you and I will pick this up in a year when I come back for another working on your car and all this kind of stuff.
That's another story.
It's another story. While we're on Toyota, before we press on to other changes.
Let's back up for a second. Do you think to the Corvette, an electrified Corvette is appropriate? Obviously, the performance of that top shelf model, very strong.
Oh.
But is that what a Corvette buyer wants?
Doesn't matter.
They don't care? They just want the name?
Did I ever tell you what happened with Roman and I?
No.
Roman and I learned a very important lesson.
Roman Micah, TFL car, the TFL empire, really.
He's very old. He's afraid of elevators.
Roman is afraid of...
He's afraid of elevators, yeah.
He's not any older than you, for starters.
No, he's way older than me.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, he's over 60.
Sorry.
He's way older than
You're 42.
25. Anyway, he and I were
afraid of elevators,
probably doing what you and I are doing, bickering over, and it was a Corvette. We were sitting in a Corvette at the Chicago Auto Show. Okay. Now, I respect Corvettes, but I never had like a passion like, I got to get me a Corvette. With the exception of an early C3, like a 68, 69, 427, 4-speed T-top.
Split window maybe, or no?
No, split window would do that too. So we're sitting in the Corvette, and in my job, I think I'm the only person that tells Roman to his face he's old. And that's because we're good friends. We get away. And he beats me up. He tells me I'm stupid or whatever. But in reality, and I say, yeah, he calls me cheap. But the thing is, I've learned a lot from Roman. Like, Roman's a successful guy.
Oh, absolutely. The business he's built?
Absolutely. I've learned a lot from the guy.
Crazy.
A lot of us have learned, but I particularly have learned a lot from him. And I'm very grateful for his friendship, and he was supportive of me when I was in the hospital.
Yeah, they did some videos
He did 4 episodes for me, unsolicited. He did it without even asking.
Wow.
Very grateful. But
that's fantastic.
We're sitting and arguing about Corvettes, and that we were sitting in an E-Ray at the C8 at the Chicago Auto Show when it came out. And he's telling me that it's an old man's car. And I'm kind of agreeing with him. And as we're sitting there, there are like 4 college kids swarming the car. And I look at him, I'm like, you know what? Let's ask. So I get up, Andre swirls around with the camera, focuses on these like, I want to say the 20-year-olds. And we ask him point blank, is this cool or is it not cool?
Yeah.
Every one of them said, that is a cool car.
Okay.
20-year-olds.
Okay.
C7, they wouldn't have done that.
They don't even know what a Corvette is. It looked too conventional, probably.
Yes. Now
Engine
all of a
up
sudden,
front, small body.
It's cool looking, man. It looks like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why Chevy had no choice but to make an electrified Corvette. Number one, it's now a cool car.
Okay.
It's cool for a young person to buy that car. Remember, in the famous words of Ian Callum, you can sell an old man a young man's car, but you can't sell a young man an old man's car. True. And now it's a young man's car, which means a young man is all of a sudden into these like hyper cars that make all like, oh my God. I went and shot the Bugatti Tourbillon.
Yeah. Was that a static display like at a dealer or was it an
No. It was a
Bugatti
Bugatti event.
Gotcha.
Had a $91 million house. Like, no joke. It had his and hers, not closets, but wings that you could
of the
store
house.
clothes in. It had a salon just for the woman. It had a massage parlor just for the woman. It had a wine cellar. It had a movie theater with a concession stand before you walked into the movie theater in your house. Okay? So it made the $4.6 million car look cheap.
Yeah. I don't know if that was their intended.
But I bring it up because it is a plug-in hybrid. It is a hypercar.
And a naturally aspirated, what's V16?
V16, no longer a W16.
Yep.
And oh my God, the beauty of it.
The instrument cluster.
Two things. The intake plenum has the firing order on it. Son, I mean, I needed a moment with that thing. I totally did. And then there's the reason why they call it a tourbillon.
Okay.
It is like an homage to watchmaking. You know I'm a watch geek. The thing has multiple Swiss watches, and it's made by a famous Swiss watch company, but they won't tell you who it is.
Not Swatch.
Definitely not Swatch. And inside, the bits inside of it,
it's mechanical, right? It's
all
geared,
mechanical, and you can see it. The bits inside, I'm not making this up, sapphire and rubies.
Why not at that price?
At $4.6 million.
Right.
And everything is toggle switches, only one screen, because you need legally a reverse camera. So it comes up
so you need some sort of display.
That's it. Everything else is toggle switches and knobs. Even the start switches, like my airplane. You pull out to start the engine, and then you push in to switch it off.
Interesting.
It's unbelievable.
Aerospace. That's what people want. Nobody wants to go to the touch screen.
No.
Turn their seat heater on, right? Just put a button there.
Absolutely.
I know it's more cost. I know it's another failure point, but just use a physical button. That's my take.
Going to share some inside baseball about that shoot. And I'm go way on the weed.
This is not published yet.
No, not yet. But by the time they see it, it probably will be. I'm way off on the weave right now. So we drove. As you know, my lady friend is an automotive journalist.
Sure. And a lifestyle.
And lifestyle. So she was invited as well.
To the Bugatti.
To the Bugatti. Yeah. So there's a deer over there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, look at this. Michigan, man. Yeah. This is awesome.
Deer, Michigan.
Wow, we didn't know we had an audience. Anyway, so we were invited to this event together, which never really happens. And we both geek out about this car. Like the detail. The diffuser is carbon fiber, but it's not tacked on to the back of the car like Ben's Mach-E over there. He's rolling his eye. Part of the structure. The diffuser is part of the structure. Yeah. You can see I'm into this thing. I never was a Bugatti guy.
I can't tell. I never noticed.
We had to get in our lowly Rolls-Royce Spectre black badge and drive away. I honestly felt this was a pile of garbage. Why? Not because the car
nicest BMW you can buy.
Nicest BMW, but it's the screens. The screens dated the interior. After seeing what Tourbillon did, and I kind of wanted to bring this up later in the episode.
Is this a touch screen too? I'm assuming you have your Apple CarPlay or no?
Apple CarPlay reverse camera is in the reverse camera. I think so. We didn't even get to that. But I don't think people who buy those things do Apple CarPlay.
Well, you're not really driving it. You're probably parking it and waiting for the price to go up and sell it.
That's another aside I can give you too. You know what? Remind me later to talk about what the owners do. Because that's
Bugatti owners?
Yeah. I really didn't want to do the weave on the Bugatti at this point. I wanted to get to it. But we're driving in the Rolls-Royce. It was a beautiful summer afternoon in Beverly Hills. And we're both looking at the screen like, this car looks 500 years old compared to that one. That one was timeless.
Was it just the graphics on the screen, the interface?
It's all black screens in a $566,000 car. We literally, the $4.6 million car makes the $566,000 car look like that Toyota Corolla Cross you got. It's incredible.
And it sounds like this is not an expensive change that other automakers could easily implement, right? This is just
I
the darkest
think they could. You know what? We're kind of jumping into something I wanted to get into, but this is a big point. Timelessness.
Yes.
I'm starting to see this in other manufacturers too. Like I drove the Revuelto. We did this crazy open with a Revuelto.
Plug-in hybrid,
plug-in hybrid, yeah. Well, apparently people in Santiago de Bolognese weren't informed that the name also meant scrambled eggs. We made sure everybody knew that in the episode.
I hope you were right.
Too, they stuck with the toggle switch and everything, but they still have the stupid screens. So I'm seeing companies like that are trying to do the timelessness, but I think they're leaving money on the table. That Lamborghini they had was $750,000. I'm willing to bet you, was it $100,000 for that same Tourbillon, a Lamborghini version of it, be 100% take rate.
Yeah.
100%.
Just keeping it simple, getting rid of the screens, no electrification.
Make IWC make the thing for you.
Done.
Or like Breitling or somebody.
Well, that's the thing. Like in Bentleys, you have the organ pull style controls for the air vents.
Yeah. And the Rolls-Royce had it too.
The Rolls-Royce
but
does that.
still look dated with the screens. Anyway, I did the weave. Well, we were talking about electrification.
What are we talking about?
Okay, let's get back to it. Let's get back to electrification. Speaking of electrification, that Bugatti, originally I thought that the motors were made by the same folks who make the motors in the 296, the other Ferrari, the SF90, as well as the Revuelto. And it's Yasa. It's this amazing company.
Like this pancake type.
Pancake motor, 111 horsepower from something this wide. It weighs 40 pounds. You could put it in the overhead of a plane. It was started as a thesis at Oxford, and the guy commercialized it, grew the company, got Ferrari as a client, and then Mercedes is like, oh no, and they bought the whole company. So Mercedes owns it now, and their clients are...
They're selling to the Volkswagen Group.
They're selling, probably not for long. I guess competitively they're not going to do it.
Okay.
But here's with the Rimac deal with Bugatti, the motors, same deal. It's same 3 motors, but they're not Yasa. They're made in-house by Rimac for the Bugatti.
Okay.
It's,
very nice.
It's as you could tell,
he likes it, folks. He likes this Bugatti.
I'm over the moon of this thing. And normally I don't like that kind. I don't like the soapbox derby kind of cars.
Yeah, but it's fashion and it's time, like you said, timeless design. What you get with physical gauges inspired by a wristwatch. It's tastefully designed interior, not having too many screens. Like how many screens do you get in a Grand Wagoneer? Last I counted, it's like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Like who's asking for that?
Too many.
Who is asking for a passenger side dashboard?
I think we've
a
reached
climate
peak
control
screen.
screen. Yeah. Or you look at the MBUX Hyperscreen.
Horrible.
I wouldn't say horrible, but it seems like such a missed opportunity because there's an obvious edge to each of the 3 screens. So why not just have 3 separate panels? Yeah. And then when you inevitably scratch or crack the surface of the giant screen, because it's going to happen, what does that cost to replace? Can you even get one in, 5 or 10 years or 20 years down the road? Like, it's not a good solution.
The other issue that I've always felt with those, they miss an opportunity to reinforce that it's a luxury car. Because everything is like touchscreen.
Yeah.
You don't feel special. It feels like this car. This car is shockingly $52,000. I fell off my chair when I saw the Monroney for this car. But like, think about the knob on a Bentley, the knurled knob to adjust the temperature. You don't have that in the Mercedes.
No.
You don't have that in so many luxury cars. Like that ES, same thing. It's a big screen right now.
And it's not as safe while you're driving, I would argue.
Oh.
You want a physical knob,
Absolutely.
button, or dial, because you can feel it and then activate it or do whatever.
Where your finger goes is where your eyes go.
Yeah.
That is proven science from many of engineers and even studies car manufacturers, but they're doing these stupid things. Okay, this gets to another like hot take. Have you driven the new, the Expedition and the Lincoln Navigator?
I just spent time in the Nautilus hybrid.
The Nautilus.
No, it's the smaller one, but
Okay.
if you're talking about the screens inside, same idea.
No, I'm talking about, have you adjusted the mirrors inside of an Expedition?
I have not. I heard it's through the touch screen or the steering wheel controls, Tesla style.
Have you adjusted the mirrors inside of a Volvo EX90?
Not in a long time.
Same deal.
Touchscreen, the Tesla effect.
It's the Tesla effect.
Effect.
And they sit here and tell you, oh my God, it's the UX. You have so much more usability and it's this wonderful thing and you should really do this. And all they're doing is re-engineering the wheel and no one wants it this way.
I would agree.
All of us here at MotoMan are super excited to not only have the podcast back, but for it to be its own show. And there, we look to you for a little assistance. Can you help us grow the show? 2 really easy ways to do that. First and foremost, if you're reaching out via YouTube or other streaming platforms, you click on subscribe, notifications, or more importantly, share these episodes with your friends, especially on Reddit. Now, if you're downloading these episodes, listening via podcast platforms, we'd ask you to rate us. The good stars are wonderful, but leaving a written review would be even better, especially sharing who was your favorite guest. So with that, I am incredibly grateful for your assistance in help growing this. And now, back to the episode. Now, in fairness to the audience, I don't think we should drive past this one. We're specifically talking about taking simple controls, like a 5-way controller to adjust the mirrors, or a lever to adjust the steering wheel, or a button to adjust the steering wheel that's on the steering wheel. What they've done is they've moved it into the screen, and they claim it gives you more features, when in reality, they're just saving themselves some money.
Yeah.
And, I get it in Teslas, because Teslas, they have this like understated design ethic where they don't want any buttons. And people who buy this, in fairness, that's what they want. But the guy who's buying a Ford Expedition, this is his 5th Expedition. He's a Mormon. He has 4 horses and 13 kids.
Lives in Provo.
Yeah, he doesn't have time to go and look for a controller to adjust the mirrors using the steering wheel. It's stupid.
Well,
And
in
even-
fairness, too, that's something you'll typically, if you're owning the vehicle, you're going to set it probably once, save it to your memory function. Your wife can have
That's
function number
bullshit.
2.
And I'll tell you why.
Oh,
They're like in my own personal car.
okay.
I'll drive down the road, and there are some days I'm driving, I'm a little bit more upright, a little bit more attentive. And there's some days like we just went up to Edwards Air Force Base for July 4th, took the car. And I'll put the seat back a little farther, and I have to adjust the mirror.
Okay.
I don't want to have to go and bury it in the
Alright.
screen and do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Jackie's here as well, and she's got the Range Rover Autobiography. And they changed it. They used to have a volume knob right behind the...
Yeah, it was like a porcelain, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was beautiful. And their infotainment is magnificent. What did they do? They took the volume knob out, and you've got to reach over to the other side of the screen and find something that looks like a volume and go up and down like
no.
this.
Honda learned their lesson years ago doing that with their touchscreen volume knob. It didn't work then.
Yeah.
It ain't going to work now.
So this is a perfect segue to the epitome of this, but I would say done right.
Okay. What is it?
What's your take on Slate Automotive?
Oh, gosh. Back to basic, super affordable, funky, boxy design, the flexibility, you've got a pickup truck. Or you can have an SUV, right? If you buy sort of the back end. I forget the pricing. Is it starting at like 25? I want to say 25. What is?
Well, this
Fill me
is
in on
why I
that.
wanted to bring it up.
Okay.
I saw the car before it was launched.
Okay.
I know the folks pretty well over there. Great group of folks.
And the PR staff, too.
PR staff, Habibi, great guy. Originally, it was going to be $25,000.
It did at Ford Maverick then, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
But worse, they were originally 25 and they were banking on the 7,500. Then it went to 27.5 and they said, okay, it's going to be $20,000. That's what they did at the launch. But you and I both know that no matter who won the election, that was going away. Anybody that's going to sit here and say Trump took away your rebate, that's garbage. It was going away because we're going bankrupt. We can't afford charity
$36
for rich people.
trillion bankrupt already or whatever.
Oh, you're right. Actually, thank you. We are already bankrupt. Another reason why we can't afford charity for rich people. That's who buys electric cars. That's the reality of it. Or upper middle class. The Slate, $27,500. Do you still think that's going to work?
It's going to be a tough sell. I think the product looks good. It's funky. It's different. It's still affordable, but it's an awfully big risk purchasing from a startup automaker. Look what happened with Fisker in the Ocean. What did they sell them for a few months and then went bankrupt? Like, how do you service that? What do you do?
Fisker's a different. Fisker, I love Henrik. He's a talented designer, but businessman he is not.
And he's had like 3 or 4 tries at running a Ahsoka. Maybe he's stopped.
It was managed badly. I think if you have adults in the room, you can follow the Lucid model or the Tesla model. Like Lucid's success, very few people understand this. Very few people don't understand this. Lucid's success is not the car, it's not the IP, it's not all of how efficient the EV system runs, or the propulsion system runs. It's one decision they made. They chose to get their money from Saudi Arabia instead of China.
Okay.
And as a result, they were able to get their money out of Saudi Arabia, put it into a prototype, then put it into production, and they got a car out to market faster than anybody else.
Okay. They had access to those funds.
Exactly.
Didn't have to keep them in China, is what you're saying?
China basically impounds the funds. So it's very hard to get money out of China. I can bring on investment people who can talk more intelligently than I can, but that's the headline.
Mm-hmm.
Slate did the same thing.
They went to Saudi Arabia or went to a different company?
They went to Washington State.
Okay.
That's where they got them.
Gotcha.
Which is unlimited money.
Okay.
That's number one going in their favor. Number two, I should disclose I'm somewhat biased because the PR person is a personal friend of mine.
Mm-hmm. Great guy.
Great guy. The guy who runs the accessories, which is the whole gag about that car. Why don't you tell him a little bit about the accessorization before I get into it?
Well, for starters, there's no screen. It doesn't come with a screen.
No.
Right? You bring your own device. Or can you get a separate screen if you want more than your iPhone or your
You
Android?
can get a holder for an iPad. That is all you can get.
Okay.
There is no screen you can buy.
But the accessories, like the one that comes to mind is the cap. You can turn it into an SUV, and I'm assuming buy seats that bolt in the back as well. What else can you get?
You are buying a pickup.
Yeah.
But you can buy one of two caps. One that is like straight back and one that's like a fast back.
Okay. Like the coupe SUV if you want.
Cayenne Coupe, but $27,500. You can buy elements, different covers for your seats to make them heated.
Okay. It's completely modularized.
Totally. I love the concept. And what company does the accessories really well?
Porsche.
No. Your father used to have one.
Options. Harley Davidson.
Harley Davidson. Where did this accessory guy come from?
Probably from Harley Davidson.
I think it's genius.
Okay. Yeah.
And I personally I don't have a lot. I met him only through the thing, but it's so genius. I love the simplicity of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are problems.
What are the problems?
First, the pricing.
You think 27 is too much?
Tell the audience how much a Maverick is now.
Oh, I had one. It was something like, I want to say $36,000.
No, a basic one.
The base one starts, what? It's either close to 30.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less than 30.
Are you going to buy a Maverick? You're going to buy that.
I would get a Maverick because it's proven, and I know I can go to any town in the U.S. and get service if I need it.
Second, and I don't know this, you do because you're more pragmatic than I am.
Yeah.
I have the mentality of a 3-year-old.
I
think the only risk they have, I don't think it's the money. I think they've got a great, the chief designer came from Volvo. All of the beautiful interior design that was done at Volvo was Tish, and she now runs design over there. So it's a great group of people. Oh, and all of the bits that make the communication in the vehicle work, communication with the phone,
the electrical architecture,
the UX, all that kind of stuff. The guy came from Renault, and if you see what Renault is doing over in Europe, killer stuff.
They're doing some good stuff.
The guy's incredible. Anyway, it's a rock star group. It's like the Justice League. But they took the Justice League, and how many people buy a Defender 90 right now?
Not many, I would imagine.
Yeah, how many people
about the reliability?
Well, put aside the reliability. How many people buy a 2-door Bronco?
Same with the Wrangler. They're overwhelmingly 4 doors. Overwhelmingly.
That is the only thing that I think may do them in.
Is that it's only a 2-door.
It's only a 2-door.
But maybe it's more of a lifestyle vehicle. But at $27,000, that's mighty hard to justify.
No.
What if they just offered a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine and scrapped the battery pack and offered it for less than 20? Would that work?
I think it'd be great.
You think they'd probably sell everyone they can make?
I think they gotta, and again, I love these guys. I want them to succeed. But number one, my biggest question from the get-go was, should you have done a 4-door?
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from an impractical person. And the next question was highly foolish to bank on the $7,500 tax credit. It was going away no matter who won the election. So very foolish in the idea of pricing. Maybe they go back to the drawing board and they come up with a $23,000 price point. I think if they're too close to the $30,000 or $27,000, whatever the Maverick is, they got a problem.
They're going to be
now,
screwed, yeah.
Your folks at Toyota are talking about bringing out one of these things.
Yeah.
And when Toyota gets into the market, they have more money than God. Did they put you out of business? They're like Delta Airlines.
And they have the reputation, too. People, if you don't want to think about your car, you don't care, you need transportation that's comfortable and as reliable as a blacksmith's anvil, just go get a Toyota, and it's never going to break, right? Functional.
Well, in fairness, Toyota has some reliability issues. Like famously, so what you guys don't know is our shop truck is a Tundra. It's a TRD.
Is it a
Pro
hybrid or the 3.5 twin turbo V6?
No, it's a hybrid.
Okay, that's the 3.5.
Yeah, it's a shop truck, and it. I mean, I hate you guys know I love me some Toyota, but that thing has been a disaster.
Really, like a lot of recalls.
They've had to replace all the tires because the tires had some sort of chemical formulation problem. They're gonna have to replace the engine on it
from the main bearing issue.
Whatever is wrong with it.
New engine in a Toyota. That doesn't happen.
It was a $75,000 pickup truck, and it's been more troublesome than my 911. And then the PS to that, the Tacoma had the same problems.
Really? So maybe they've slipped. Because what's interesting, did you see the JD Power study? This is maybe back in February, but the Nissan Kicks was like, I just saw this earlier today, was the top rated vehicle in the vehicle dependability study in its segment. The Nissan. When is the Nissan ever more reliable than a Toyota?
I find that fascinating because Nissan, who I haven't had on the show in many years, for this very reason, I would do. There's no nice way to put this.
If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying something factual. I do what's called the shit sandwich. I'm very honest with my audience.
That's a term Ben and I know from another coworker.
But it's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to sugarcoat things to the audience. Like, I love this car. This is one of my favorite cars to drive. It's fantastic. I kind of love how ugly and handsome it is. I love the way it drives. I love the power. But
it's practically a 911.
Yeah, a 911 just tall. But the UX, garbage. Yeah. And you can't even fix it. You need to throw it out, start from scratch, which gives me pause to recommend it. But it's still a fun car to drive. See, that's the shit sandwich. See what I did there?
Yeah, it's
good shit, good. And I would do that with Nissan.
You need a lot of bread.
I got a lot of bread, man. I like carbs. So I would say, hey, like the Maxima, cool design, bold that they bring out a 4-door sedan, but this transmission is garbage. Yeah. But then I'd say, wow, the engine's really good. They literally sent people after me to say, you got to stop talking bad about our transmissions. And I said to them, I'm like, guys, you know I love you.
Yeah.
You know I do like your products, but I can't lie to my audience. Like, my audience is my customer. You are not my customer.
Yep.
So it surprises me that the car with that transmission is the one that's most reliable.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, design's great.
Which I'd have to double check.
It's good looking.
It is a very handsome vehicle.
I hate to admit that.
It's a handsome vehicle. Nissan does better in design than some of its rivals, I think.
Alfonso is super talented. Good friend.
Yeah. You've interviewed him a number of times.
I've had Cubans with that Cuban.
Uh-huh.
Let's get back to Slate. So do you think Slate will be successful?
The only way to make a small fortune in the car business is to start with a large fortune, because it ain't an easy place to do business, right?
Wouldn't that describe the airline business?
I mean, many mature businesses, I guess. But I mean, I guess if you've got Jeff Bezos money, you can just flip everybody off.
Do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. Like, it's his vanity project. He wants to go to space. He's got Blue Origin or whatever. He wants to go after Elon Musk. He's got.
Do you remember that PR thing, a nightmare? It turned into a PR nightmare where he sent all of these ladies to space.
Oh, yeah, and they were making fun of them or something.
It didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, you did this. You handled this all the wrong way.
Yeah.
But you have enough money to pull a
It doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to starve. Jeff.
Yeah.
He had a $50 million wedding in Venice or whatever, pissed everybody off locally.
He got married?
He did. Wasn't this a few weeks ago he got married?
He got married to the one with the big boobs?
Yeah. I don't know what her name is.
I'll never forget it. The
She's got a few miles on the chassis, I suspect.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of basketball players from what I remember.
I'm not. Dennis is all mortified.
Stuff.
Brett can cut that if he wants. I don't know if he's going to. You're not going to watch this with a fine-tooth comb, are you?
Yeah, he's going to keep this in his, like, he's got a reserve over there.
He's like, if I need blackmail.
Use against me. Yeah. Yeah. What was that? Before we went off on, like, National Enquirer kind of stuff.
Slate.
Okay, yeah, Slate. So just one more thing. The inauguration when what's his face? Zuckerberg's looking right down her chest and got it on national news. Hysterical. Anyway, enough. I'm off this topic. So Slate, I want them to be successful.
Yeah.
But fundamental issues. Fundamental issue number one, it's not a 4-door.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a huge strategic error. Fundamental issue number two, banking on the rebate was stupid for anybody, but it's life-threatening for them. Yeah. Fundamental issue number three, they're telling us the car's coming out next year. Next year.
Next year. As in not this year.
Like, that's
July.
too far.
Recording. Yeah.
Do I think it gets in the way of their success? No, it gives them some time to maybe iterate, bring the price down, maybe come out with like a range extender.
Sure.
I don't know. But I think we put a pin in this. Another one. Put a pin in this part of the conversation. What do you guys think? Will they be successful or not? Comments below or via social media. However, let's come back in a year. We'll look at this. Maybe we'll have Habibi on. We'll talk to him in person. We'll tell him how to run the company.
Okay, I'm sure he'd love to hear that since he's not the one running the company.
But do you know he is the voice of the company?
He did the video. I
He
saw
did the
that.
video.
I think it was on LinkedIn.
He is now a voiceover artist.
Should we name this mysterious person?
No, he is Habibi.
He's
My audience
Habibi.
will know him as Habibi.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes, he and I...
And inside baseball.
He and I share whenever Fauda. Do you ever see the show Fauda on Netflix?
I've
We
not.
love it.
Okay.
And whenever new seasons come, we race through it and we compare notes on
Okay.
it.
What is I've not even
Fauda
heard of
is
that. I mean, I know nothing about pop culture, so this is not a surprise.
It's like international espionage set in the Middle East. It's it's come out many years ago, but it kind of mimics what's really going on lately in the Middle East.
Gotcha.
I'm going to leave that
I
there.
mean, there's always turmoil, so it's safe.
Well, that's true.
Right.
That's true for
Anyway,
2,000 years.
Yeah, we're
But
not
we'll
going to
leave
talk
that there.
about geopolitics.
Let's get back to...
I have something circled here. Bugatti owners. Wanted to get back to.
I got to tell you this, and then I want to get into our final topic. Bugatti, you're gonna be amazed by this. So, I go and sit with he was the chief operating officer of Bugatti U.S. So the guy is European but lives in Virginia where they're based. So, one of the things I love about my car,
It's a 911 GT3
yes, she's
without
touring.
the wing,
Without the wing, it's touring.
manual.
But the manual, of course.
Gotta be a manual. Yeah.
But one of the things I love about it, it is your entry ticket to the fun park. Meaning you go to all these different like car drives or like local car shows, or like, as you know, I've been taking it to military car shows. And you do these cool events with your buddies and you meet new friends and you meet the greatest people. And I thought it was cool that I got to take my car to Edwards Air Force Base for like July 4th and watch fireworks. I thought it was cool to be in the officers' military car show at Vandenberg Space Force Base. That's nothing.
Okay.
Apparently I didn't pay enough.
Well, you wouldn't, for starters.
Now, this has nothing to do with change in the industry, but the Bugatti owners people, so it's not a club, it's events that the COO comes up with. He dreams up these ideas. What do you
Okay.
think the owners would be into?
Caviar.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Von
Anything
Romane
but.
wines.
No.
Burgundy.
No. It's none of that. That's what I would think.
They want to go to Buc-ee's? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. You know what they do? He tells me about an event. He goes, yeah, I called NASA. I asked them, can I rent the runway at Cape Canaveral? They said yes. So the owners brought their cars
And they just,
do these high-speed runs, but there was
where
one,
else can you do that?
where else can you do it?
Where else can you do that?
But there was one catch. You had to agree to have the tires that you used on the runway taken off and drilled so you could never use them again. The tire company didn't want to warranty the tires.
After they hit a certain speed, right?
Yeah, and how much is a set of tires on a Bugatti?
Well, I can't imagine.
25
Thousands.
grand.
Thousands, yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool, right?
That's amazing.
Nothing. That's garbage compared to the second one he told me about. The second one, you ready for this?
Okay.
He's like, you know what? I think it would be cool to be part of F1. And he's like, well, how can I do this? So he calls the F1 people who are notorious for not being flexible
Mm-hmm.
and says, hey,
You flash the checkbook a little, right?
apparently that helps. Apparently,
what
so
you
he
want.
calls and he says, you mind if we drive on your track in Las Vegas
Okay.
that you close down public roads for? Like, you could go to Bahrain and rent the track. That's easy. You can go to
Road America, not Road America, Circuit of the Americas.
Circuit of America. You could rent that track. Why make it easy when you could make it incredibly difficult
Uh-huh.
and negotiate with F1 and the city of Las Vegas, and before the F1
So
cars
before
go
the
on the
race,
track,
they did the
the
Bugatti.
Bugatti owners get to drive their car on
Like
the
a
track.
parade lap?
Yeah,
Or
kind
were
of.
they-
It wasn't a
okay.
race.
Okay.
But
it's
high
like,
speed,
look at all the money I've got.
how cool is
Yeah.
that? Put aside how much money it costs. How cool is that?
You can't functionally do that ever. So
So,
yeah.
I mean, I can't afford it. But how cool is that?
Mhm. Very. And
Okay.
that's out of the box thinking.
That is-
from
I
just
love
let's
the
go
out-
taste caviar in Bordeaux or
And
whatever.
that's kind of,
Stay at a chateau.
I know I'm getting a little touchy-feely right now with this, but the world has changed since the virus. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are people no longer want things. A lot of people. I'm a
want
big believer that
experiences.
people are looking for experiences.
Mhm.
Yes. And they're willing to pay through the nose for experiences. Like just in our little world of our automotive journalism, people, not us, because we're poor, but like normal people are buying first class tickets. They're like,
Okay.
how often do I get to go to Europe?
Exactly.
I want to fly in the front of the bus.
Mm.
And this is the most like graphic example I've heard of I want an experience.
Driving your Bugatti
Driving
on
your
the F1
Bugatti.
track that they shut down
Absolutely.
half of Las Vegas for.
Okay, so let's transition into our last topic.
Okay.
The change in the automotive media landscape. What's your take?
Oh gosh, collapsing right now.
How
So many publications have closed. Our friends over at Internet Brands are
Yes.
all out of a job. So
Which
that's why-
what were some of the brands?
Oh
of
gosh,
that?
Motor Authority is one of them. The Car Connection, Green Car Reports, I think. Some of them have found work. Fortunately, Joel Fetter, we friend
Lovely
of the
guy.
show.
Lovely guy.
Yeah. He's found work at the Drive.
He is the heir to a one-owner, beautifully maintained Z32.
Mhm. He's always posting about that
Yes.
on Instagram and always washing it, apparently. I rarely wash that thing because I don't care, because washing your car, folks, is an unwinnable battle. The second it's spotless and detailed, you drive it anywhere, it's dirty again.
No, you got to put a cover over it. I have an indoor cover for my car.
I don't think they make covers.
Yeah, they do. You can get it custom made.
I'm
like
too
$200.
pragmatic. Okay, well, fair enough. But it's an unwinnable battle if you actually go out and drive the vehicle with any regularity. But so Joel found a job. I know a couple other people are probably looking for something more substantive, but a lot of turmoil. Didn't Motor Trend get bought by Hearst?
Motor Trend was put into the warm, loving embrace of Discovery Networks. They realized they couldn't manage it or didn't want to manage it because they were disparate industries in that to take the production costs of a Discovery Network show and it has a certain ROI, so they understand the math.
Yeah.
They put the same into the Motor Trend shows and it didn't have the same ROI. So it got cast off into Hearst. And Hearst, in fairness, they've been managing some properties, Auto Week, Car and Driver, and now Motor
Do they have
Trend.
Road and Track too?
Yes, they have Road and Track, yes. So Motor Trend going through another change in control, like the second, and I want to say a couple of years, what it's resulted in is a number of like longtime folks there have moved on to other roles, like Johnny Lieberman, friend of ours, good cigar guy.
And bourbon too.
I'm not a
He's a
drinker,
bourbon-
but
you're
yeah,
not a
he's a
drinker, but
bourbon
he
guy.
likes his bourbon and
he
watches.
loves his bourbon. I think he's a watch guy. Matt and I are more the watch brothers. So what's happened is folks like that are now going out in other places. So I think really the question here is, and this is more a question for the audience, where do you get your news? Where do you get your car fix?
Yeah.
Because this is what I do. I think
You're not covering the day-to-day news.
I'm not covering day-to-day news, but
you're
I'm
not like Autoblog in the heyday when they'd have a post on everything as soon as the
But
release
even
came out.
Autoblog
right?
has
But
changed.
Not
Like,
anymore, yeah.
now
They have a
it's
new owner group. They
New
have a new
owner
owner.
group, and
This is a
Nathan
couple
from
years ago.
TFL is doing some work for them.
Oh, okay, so he's like a freelancer
He's
there?
a freelancer. He's moonlighting from
Got it.
TFL to
But
that.
he's still at TFL,
Still
right?
at TFL.
You can't do shit. Better not leave TFL.
No, he
I'd
is
give him a
TFL.
stern talking to if he did.
Oh, I would have to take Roman and really get him on camera telling him he's old and he's lost it. And he's ready for the box to anything like that happen. But what has this meant for the viewer? In your mind,
I don't think the viewer sees a lot of it. They just go to Autoblog, and if they're just catching up on the news, they may not notice that it's under new management. Oh, there's a site redesign. Okay, but also maybe they're going to miss the counter argument. They're going to miss some folks that they always followed on that site, that they're familiar with, that they like their content, they read their reviews, whatever. So they may see they've gone. They're now at another publication or looking for work or freelancing. So, I mean, I'm a little bit split. There's just, lately, the last couple of years, it's been turmoil in this business. sites closing, people getting laid off. Our employer, we were at EV Pulse, shut down because the business model just wasn't working. We were a very small team, and it was a startup situation.
Well, there was some strategic missteps in that case.
But the point is, like, we kind of figured that was coming, just not as soon as it would have been.
Yeah.
But my take is always like, this almost shouldn't be a job when you think about it, right? Because what we do is so special. We're so fortunate in a lot of ways.
I had no idea it was a career.
Yeah.
I fell into it. The girl I was dating back in the day in New York, when I told her I was doing it, now what I was doing is going to the dealer and borrowing the cars. She literally said to me, "You're an idiot." I'm like, we haven't dated in 6 months. Why are you calling me an idiot now? She's like, just call the manufacturers. They'll give you the car. And I had no idea.
The whole media, call the fleet manager.
Call the fleet manager. And that's kind of how it started. But I disagree with you.
Okay.
And you and I rarely disagree. I disagree in that the change, it's kind of the tail wagging the dog. I see it as the change coming from the viewers saying, you know what? I'm sick of this format. I'm sick of this, like, 10 bullet points or 5 things about the new Ford Mach-E or 5 things about the
Googles or whatever.
Yeah, I think the real 50% of it is Google search. So you're always going to have that stuff work. And 50% of it, and now growing, is a group of enthusiasts that are at a point where they're saying, you know what? I like that Savage Geese guy.
Okay.
Or I like that Craig Cole guy. Well, people have followed you.
They have? They more stumble upon.
No, no, I've read your comments. They literally have followed you from 3 different places. And people are liking the change in the way in which the content is being presented to them. We're presenting them with maybe not always a quality alternative. Like, there are people who do very well in this business with high quantity, low quality.
Yes.
There's no shame in that game. It's different.
That's churn.
Yes.
Churn. You're forever on the treadmill, but
yes,
the bar is a lot lower.
I think this
is not what we're trying to do, and then definitely not what you're trying to do.
Definitely not what you and I are trying to do. You and I are trying to do something different. You and I have a disease where we need the Bens and the Bretts of the world. We need the fancy cameras. We need the higher quality production. And you know what? I think that gets in our way, if I'm being honest, completely.
In a lot of ways, when speed matters, when, the first person to get the review out, the first drive, whatever, they're going to, in theory, get the most views.
I'm proving to myself that that's not always the most valuable solution. Yeah.
The flip side, when we were at Auto Guide, automakers would invite you to a first drive program. There'd be an embargo, so you couldn't reveal, the driving impressions, or maybe in some instances the statistics, the horsepower, the chassis, whatever about a car.
Yeah.
There's a date that's set. You can't say any of that stuff before then. Once the embargo lifts, traditionally everybody's review comes out all at once. So you have YouTube, for instance, flooded with reviews of your Golf R 2025. Okay, well, how do you stand out if there are 300 other channels? Maybe not 300, but a lot of other channels coming out with the same content.
Like on a Toyota program, they literally have 50 video channels.
Yeah. But the flip side, when we were at Auto Guide really quick, we found that, because sometimes we just couldn't meet the embargo for various logistical reasons. We found that if we published a week later, we would get more views in some instances than if we did when the embargo lifted. We were catching like the second wave.
I agree with you. Yeah. And you know who I learned that from? Roman.
Probably Roman.
Yeah.
He knows everything.
He knows everything.
He's like Jim Hall.
He's like Jim Hall. In this industry, he's Jim Hall. But I learned that if you are one of those 50 people on like some nondescript crossover, it's not worth your time. You're taking 3 days out of the office for one video when you could spend that time working on 2 really high quality videos that will have much more reach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the big changes in the business. Okay, so we've reached that point again now on this topic where I feel we put a pin in this. But this when we turn around to the audience and say, okay, the theme of this discussion was not a SWOT analysis, rather, what were the changes? We cataloged the changes over the past year. Granted, I probably geeked out about the Bugatti a bit too much. But what were the changes for the past year? What changes did we miss?
They'll have a lot of good suggestions.
Let us know in the comments below. You and I probably will get together a little bit more frequently at this point. At least I'd like us to get together a little bit more frequently at this point.
We got more work to do on the car.
We got more work to do on this. Oh, and that brings us, so comments below, what did we forget? Or weigh in on the ones we did cover. And before we go, can we show them? Can we give them a glimpse of what we did?
Yeah, well, you can, well, This is a little gag that we did. Do you want to open it, or do you want me to
No,
present
you
it to you?
open. I want to
Okay.
present it again.
Okay. In another video on our channel, Auto Esoterica, we installed new spark plug wires on that car for reasons I won't get into right now because of running out of daylight and record time on the
I
camera.
got my
But
hands dirty.
he got his hands a little bit dirty. But just as a gag, we printed him up this certificate of aggrievement.
Oh, we
call
can't show the certificate because it says my real name. It doesn't just say MotoMan,
Oh,
but it's a certificate of agreement. It's lovely. Here, there we go. Auto Esoterica, and I
people can't know
reached.
who you are?
I reached the level of what? What level did I reach?
In recognition of undue trauma inflicted upon the above party whilst being trained in spark plug wires, congratulations on achieving the rank of passing understanding on this date.
Well, I have a
The year of our Lord.
passing understanding.
You did a very
Year,
good
but,
job.
Thank you, because you know I'm a religious man. And then I
And
need
you got a
this
special, very exclusive 3D printed medallion.
made out of balsa wood.
That is not true.
See this? This is what 16 years of friendship will get you. Sir, thank you very much
Well, thank you.
for taking the time. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Of course.
Where again can they find you?
That's just search YouTube for Auto Esoterica. We cover old cars and other stuff like that.
Okay. Until we see you in the next episode, you want to say it?
Peace, Theta. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.